West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Oh, I forgot to take the dub down. Haha. Fly the dub, baby. I love that thing. I don't care. I think it's kind of a cool thing after a win. So, how are you, boys? Happy New Year. Ryan's muted.
I thought Stan was going to talk first, I swear.
You don't even need to go in first.
I was kidding, Stan. I actually spoke, but I was muted. Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. And to our compatriot. Is that the right you said?
Compatriot, comrades?
Comrade, yeah.
So StreamYard has seen fit to grace us with some new toys here, which is kind of neat. So they have this, it's the bubble theme now. So when you see everything at the bottom, should be a little smaller now, and it's rounded. So it's kind of nice.
It's just like that we've got no one in the chat box except for our moderator.
Yeah, right. Oh, hey, we got somebody. All right.
Damn.
You're lucky you started coming in, because we were going to start talking about tits or something else. Because there was
right. Football with Brownies joining us. This is kind of nice. Everybody, like, the comments are coming in, nice and staggered, and I could kind of keep up with everything. So, but anyway, so any what'd you guys do for New Year's Eve? Anything big?
So I didn't do anything big. So starting off, me and my fiance and two other couples, we hung out.
Hey, what's his name again?
Brad. So me and Brad, we went to like a friend's house, played board games and like 90s trivia, drank, no big deal. And then for some reason after midnight, I guess I turned into a college boy, and me and my one friend decided to play beer pong 1-on-1, best of 7. Loser shotguns a beer after every game. Of course, we went to 7 games. We went to overtime in a couple games. It was just Megan was screaming at me, "We have to go." It was like 3 a.m. I was pretty shit house, but it was fun. I had a good time, and I was tweeting a little bit. It was fun.
Stan, anything exciting? Any good stories to tell from?
Mine was completely at the other end of the scale. I just had a glass of sherry by the fire.
That was about me. I went out. I did a little Uber New Year's Eve. Tried to make some money. It was not a bad night money wise, and I came home and downed a half a bottle of Jaeger. If you could tell by my tweets, I was like, hey, where are my West Coast peeps at? I was, put it this way: by the time I was done drinking alone on New Year's Eve, I came upstairs. I took the comforter off my bed, and I intentionally laid on the floor. That's another story for another time. But so 2 days after that debauchery, Arsenal went up to the Midlands and took on West Brom. I'm kind of wondering if they're actually going to have their team name taken away from them. They're so bad. Holy cow. So good result. 3 points. 3 points are 3 points. I don't want to belabor the result too much, because to me, we should have beaten them, and we should have beaten them by at least 4. You know what I mean? I talk about the goals, but the result itself is 3 points, and I think it was a business-like W, if that makes sense. If we'd have beaten them 1-0, I'd have been like, okay, something was wrong here. We should have beaten them by more. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's what we should have done, and that was it. End of. So Stan, talk a little bit about the result quickly, and we'll dive into the goals a little bit. So,
like what you said, it's the result that we should have got. But the problem has been of late is that these are the games where we've kind of been struggling. Games where we could be like banging in a few goals and spanking people's asses. We've had trouble with that. So it's good to see that we've kind of turned that corner, that we are now hopefully starting to win the games that you expect to win. It's been the other way around. We've had good showings at some of the bigger teams, And the things where we should be able to pick up points, we've shot ourselves in the foot many a time.
Yeah. Well said. We'll get into this a little bit more. The one thing I saw was it's West Brom. Let's not get too gassed up. Three wins in a row now, and it's like, yeah, but it's the competition. I don't want to discount Chelsea yet. We'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to say real quick, I am fairly certain that Rohan will be joining us. He is, I believe, still with family in Seattle. I don't think he's home yet. So
I don't think he gets Wi-Fi in the private jet.
Yeah, he's private jet, but it's from like 1984. So, not sure there. Hopefully he'll be joining us. That's all I got for that. And obviously, thank you everyone in the chat for being here. Hope you guys all had a great new year. We're off to a great start so far, at least from an Arsenal perspective anyway. So, Ryan, jump in. Talk to me about the result a little bit.
So I teased my beer a little bit, my beer of the week on Mike Hernandez's show, Not Another Arsenal Podcast, which you guys need to check out. Thanks, Mike, for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. But my beer is Veruca's Demise, Goose Ale Cranberries by, I don't even know who did this. Is it? Are you guys not going to say who you guys are? Bad Sons Beer Company, Derby, Connecticut.
Wait, what?
Bad Sons Beer Company. I don't know. But yeah, Veruca's Demise. And the reason why it's Veruca's Demise today is because all these people, I want this, I want that, I want that. Daddy, get me this. Daddy, get me that. I want this. I want Bedoya. I want this. I want here. I want Brandt. I want this guy. Well, you know what? You're just not going to get it. You're not going to get everything you guys want. We're going to sell, and we're going to sell. Maybe we'll sign one player. Maybe. Besides the 17-year-old center back from Hertha Berlin, Omar, Rick, whatever.
Is that done?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're not. You guys aren't going to get everything you want. You're not going to. We're not, and then on the other side of that, we're not going to sell every, quote unquote deadwood player. That everyone thinks we have.
We'll get into this. We'll get into
this. But my point is, the West Brom game, I actually have kind of an opposite reaction as to Tanner. I was excited. I was happy. Kind of piggybacking on what Stan said. We have trouble beating these teams, and so it's nice to see that. It's nice to just see us getting 3 points. Me and Mike from the Gooners Pod were talking, and we're thinking of doing some kind of drag show. Again, like Mike says, tasteful nudity, and we're going to be, kind of bringing in, Arsenal, kind of getting their wits about them, and
a drag show, like you're going to wear socks.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, me and Mike are just in the brainstorming stages. We're going to be bringing in other people for their ideas. There's talk of like yellow.
And you're actually planning.
Yeah, we're planning.
Okay.
We're talking about like, yellow Corvettes, maybe like a pink stripe across the back, and I'll be laying on the roof with like knee-high stockings and like a little like feather boa. But again, I don't want to get too into it.
What happened?
I don't want to get too into it.
Like I'm tweeting out the link to the show on Twitter right now, and all of it. What happened here?
I'm excited that we're doing well. I'm not. We're not going to win the league.
Let's redress it. So what? You have to cross-dress now.
Listen, again, me and Mike, just tasteful. The key word we talked about is tasteful, and it's still in the brainstorming stages. So I'm not, yeah, and yes, Tanner. You know what? I'm not gonna say that on the podcast, but yeah, I'm happy we won. Okay,
I got nothing. I have no idea what you were gonna say.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Maybe I do. It's kind of fun that way. Save it for the after party. No, don't misunderstand me. I'm excited and I was happy. And believe me, when Tierney scored his goal, I jumped up off the couch. I mean to say that honestly, that goes for every goal except for except for the last goal, except for Lacazette's second goal. At that point, I was like, yeah, all right. But Saka's goal.
You weren't happy about Lacazette's second goal?
It's not that I wasn't happy. I was just like when Saka scored, I jumped out. Like, come on, let's go.
And I'm sure we're gonna get into this, and I'm sure it's maybe a hot thing or a hot take, I should say. I think I don't want to say it was the most important goal. I think it was one of the most telling and most I can't find the word, but the point I'm trying to make is I said this again on Mike Hurge's show.
Hang on. Drum roll, please.
Rohan. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Man,
No, so the only thing I was gonna say was I just think, given our bad luck of form, given our bad luck, that goal is not going in. 100%, that goal is not going in. The goal goes off his knee and just right in the top. That just shows maybe our luck has changed. To me, that was maybe we really are turning the corner, and not because it was the fourth goal. It's just because that goal was never going in for us. Never.
4 games ago, that ball's going over the net.
That goal's probably going back.
Goes right into
probably more likely to go in the back of our net. That's how
bad it's been. No, I was, like I said, I was excited. It was just it was businesslike. We did what we should have done. And again, doesn't detract from my excitement, my happiness that again, it's 3 more points. And as the title of the show tonight, may as well call us the Jeffersons, because we're moving on up.
Moving on up. To the east side, by the way.
But to the east side, yeah. So Rohan, I said I didn't want to spend a lot of time on the result itself, simply because of what I just said. Business-like, what we should have done. West Brom are a bad team. We should have beaten them 4-0. Again, not to detract from the excitement or the enjoyment, but your take on the result itself. And we'll get, I would think we all kind of want to talk about Kieran Tierney's goal, Bukayo Saka's goal. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but
But just in general, the creativity, the fluidity, it just seemed like we had that confidence back, right? We weren't satisfied with a 1-goal, 2-goal lead. We wanted to go in for the kill. 4-0, in fact, I thought was flattering them. We could have scored more. And we wanted to score more. We tried. So the youngsters have turned it around, and the creativity is, I'm just loving it. I had said a couple of days ago that, I'm sick of seeing that Aubameyang tap-in versus Leicester, right, in which the team played really well and we turned it around. And that was the sort of goal that we scored the second one, both the goals, the first one, individual piece of brilliance, and the second one, team goal, both of them signifying what Arsenal is, right? Great players individually and great players linking up. So overjoyed with that. And, again, things change very, very quickly, right? Like the world seems different after, 8 days, 3 wins. Now we're 10 points off of first place. So, the world is different now.
I'd said this a couple of weeks ago too, when 3 weeks ago, whatever it might have been, but a bad run of form. And it's yes, the form sucks and it's bad, but we're not out of anything right now. The league is so congested that we're not out of this. And there's so much parity in the league right now. Liverpool draw at Anfield. Now, granted, no fans, no supporters in the seats, but Liverpool draw West Brom at Anfield. They go to Southampton yesterday and lose 1-0. So there's a lot of parity in the league, and Liverpool maybe might be a bad example because of they're just riddled with injuries right now. I think I might get a phone call here in a little bit, and I'm fat. So, but so at the end of the day, business-like, good result, 3 points. We're moving up. Rohan, go ahead.
But that just puts things into perspective, right? So the last time that we played West Brom in the league, I think they were the last that they were there was the 2017-18 season, right? And we played them on New Year's Day, on New Year's Eve. It was the 31st. I remember watching that and then going out, yeah. And it was a 1-1 draw. It was a 1-1 draw that we had. We'd scored in the 83rd minute. They'd scored in the 89th minute, a dodgy handball by Chambers, right? It wasn't a handball. Anyways, like that's not the point. So we got a 1-1 result there. That was match week or game week 21. Okay, we were at 38 points after 21 games. The leaders were Manchester City. They had 59 points then. Out of a possible 63, they had 59 points. That is how far ahead they were in the league. Second was Chelsea with 45. And we were 38, and we thought that was bad. You know, what would we give to have 38 points now after 21 games, which is like what? Now 3 more game weeks to go, right? So that's how different the league is this time. You know, nobody's gonna, the maximum somebody could get after 21 game weeks is like what, 42 or something like that, right? You know, 45 if Manchester United win all of their 4 games. So, you know, the league is very different, and you know, this time how we navigate this will be key, right? And it's the right time that our youngsters have stepped up and they've, you know, got the spirit. The thing that was worrying was that I felt like there was a lack of spirit, which I don't feel right now. Right now, I feel like the team is back again bouncing. Yeah.
Speaking of the youngsters, first goal of the game, an absolute blister off the right foot of the future captain of Arsenal Football Club, Kieran Tierney. And even my brother, who, so he's my nephew's dad, not a fan at all, getting more into it now because my nephew plays. I sent him a link to the highlights, and he immediately texted me back after he saw it's like, I haven't watched anything else. I saw the first goal. He's like, I don't want to repeat what he said, but it was very colorful language. And I was like, and my nephew plays, my nephew's 9. He was playing on a U13 team this past year, but they always seem to put him at left back, which was just kind of funny. And I'm like, if they're going to keep putting him in this position, this is the guy he needs to be watching. Watch that dude. Yeah. Tierney Henry. Onib Ahmad here. Tierney Henry. Brilliant. But yeah, like I said, when that ball, and it just, like, I don't know about you guys, did you know it was going in? Like, when you saw it come off his foot, did you know it was going in, or did you think it was going wide? Because when it came off his foot, I'm like, that's a goal. And I jumped up. Off the couch, and yeah, it was anybody jump in.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in if I can. I mean, from the moment I knew that Arsenal were linked with Kieran Tierney, I said from day one, please, it will be a really good thing. And the only reason that I knew about him beforehand, I used to live in Edinburgh. I've got a lot of friends that support Celtic. And before COVID, you know, the place where I used to go and watch Arsenal games, we shared it with the Celtic Supporters Club here in Vancouver. And there were many times, you know, when games were on at the same time, you know, and you'd be talking with them, you know, and especially when the links came as well, they were also telling me about how good he was. So I've been into him from day one. And also as well, he's, you know, I've got a Scottish background, as some of you know. So again, I wanted the lad to do well. But watching him the other day with that goal, when he took the ball up that wing and then he pulled back and went around the player, like you, I came off of my chair and I was like, he's fucking going for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he ain't going to go for a pass here. He's going to the end.
Yep. You
know what I mean? He's going all the way. And when he called that in, man, I swear. My missus was in the bathroom, I think, just getting out of the shower. I go, Shannon! I think she thought the house was on fire. She came running in with a towel around her, all over her hair. She went, what? I said, because I wound it back. I said, check this out, man. And she was like, oh. But then when she saw it was Kieran Tierney, she understands why I was so happy, because she knows I had a soft spot for him. And I mean, we have now seen what this kid has got in his locker. Do you know what I mean? We know what this guy is capable of. I think for Celtic, he scored 8 goals. I think with the style of play that he may be able to improve on that with Arsenal. You know, I'm not saying he's going to get one every month. Do you know what I mean? But I think that he's going to be one of those, fullbacks that will chip in with a few goals a season.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And we see this every week. He takes players on. He takes defenders on coming down the left flank, and he beats them. More often than not, he's beating the player he's taking on one-on-one. He's got pace. Like,
but something about it as well. Immediately, what came to my mind just after he scored the goal, I kind of thought to myself, from the position where he was, where he started his piece of action and what he done, I'm thinking to myself, why is Aubameyang not doing something similar when he receives the ball in a similar position on the pitch? You know, just looking at what the skill set is of the two players, if there's one player that should be able to get the ball, take it round a player and come back, come into the box and curl the ball in on a right foot.
He's right-footed, yeah.
It should be Aubameyang.
He should be at the top of that list of expectations.
You know, I thought to myself, that's like the stark message. And the thing is about that game, I'm not saying that without that game we wouldn't have got the result that we did, but I think that goal by Tierney was at about 23 minutes. Sometimes you need a goal like that, especially when heads are a little bit down, to sort of like grab the team by the scruff of the neck. And I say that because I remember Bakary Sagna scoring something similar when things weren't going too well. And I can't remember who we were playing against. It might even have been Spuds. And he just took the ball up and he just whacked it in. The ball nearly took the back of the net off. And it was almost like he was looking at everyone else and saying, "What, are you fucking up for it today or what?" You know? And it started how the game continued. And I got a little bit about me that feels that the goal by Tierney, you know, it kind of everybody, you know, this young kid's not been with us for long. He is quite young in age. He's a left back. And he's showing you what we should be doing.
He's showing the leadership qualities and
exactly.
He's dragging. He's American sports reference. He's Michael Jordan dragging the 91 Bulls to the NBA title.
When you see something like that, it spurs you on because your only option is to hide and shrink.
Right. You need to match his level now because if you don't, you're going to get called out for it. Ryan, go ahead.
I don't know if I can really duplicate or add on to really anything that Stan said. I think Stan said it kind of perfectly. I envision him as
he really kind of did.
I envision him as the leader of this team going forward. I think it's gonna sound bad, and I don't mean in a bad way, but I think that this is Tierney's last stop. I don't see Tierney going to a bigger club. I think this is like his destination. He's gonna make his career off us, and we're gonna give it to him, and we're gonna almost give him the keys to the castle. And I mean, obviously, I love it. I know I can come off as a little, I don't know. It sounded weird coming out of my mouth, but I do. I think that this guy is going to be here for the long haul, and I think we need to kind of not necessarily build around him, but just maybe build around his mentality if that's a possible thing, or set a culture around him and kind of like how do I explain it? The Jessica Black said in the chat earlier, talking about the higher ups, the leaders, the leadership group told him to calm down. Well, you know what? He's gonna be the leadership group. It's gonna be him telling people not to calm down. Tell them, come on, let's go, get stuck in, step up, let's go. Like, he's going to be the one telling the team to do. I can see him telling the team to run sprints. I'm excited. I just hope that we can bring in the people, and we have the people at the club now that can keep up with him.
Can I just say, like, if he's being told to calm down, what I'm actually hearing is stop showing me up.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, we could go back to Hector Bellerin comment of Alexis Sanchez when he said, all Sanchez cared about was winning. And it's too much sometimes. So if Hector can't handle it, you can imagine a lot of these players who are on their, retirement contracts, they probably feel the same way. So
is it? I know it is. I know it's a bit premature to draw a comparison like this, but there's a lot in Kieran Tierney that reminds me of. Anybody want to take a guess?
Ashley Cole.
No.
Roberto Carlos.
Tony Adams.
Right into the top, man.
Yeah. Tony. There's Tony Adams. There's just something there that, like, Tony Adams, just like Patrick Vieira, wasn't going to let you lag behind. You were going to get dragged whether you wanted to or not. Like, you were going kicking and screaming. And Tierney is I think he's really starting to exert his will on this football club now. When you put Martinelli in the side, ESR in the side, Saka in the side, if we could ever get to see Flo Balogun lead the line, my head would explode. And I don't know how I would react to that, but there's so much to be excited about now that we're actually seeing the youth play. And I think Kieran Tierney is going to be a catalyst to this because of his leadership qualities, because of his passion and his drive to simply want to be the best, period. That's it. Like, and it's not be the best left back ever. It's be the best with trophies. It's like, let's start counting my rings here, fellas. Yeah, I'm going to run out of extremities here in a minute. So that's what I think Kieran Tierney wants. Rowan, you want to add anything to what Stan said about the goal itself?
Goal was brilliant, and sometimes and what happened was that day I had sort of missed the first maybe 10-15 minutes, and then I had to rewatch it, and the amount of praise that we got in halftime and in the second half, I thought that we were dominating the game since minute 1, which wasn't the case really. I mean, it's not like we were getting dominated. It was an even game for maybe about the first 10 minutes. Then we started coming into the game, and that pressure showed, and TD got
it broke the ice, probably to a degree, a little bit literally, with based on the weather.
Now sometimes in those cold days, you need someone to, your car needs that little bit extra push, right?
Yeah.
The car wouldn't go on, and you need that extra push, and that was that push, right? The celebration itself was, you felt it, you felt that he was like, yeah, guys, come on, we've got to, now this is enough shaming the fans, enough shaming this club, and it was just brilliant the way he did it, and he did it again and again and again. He kept on trying, and he kept on beating the guy. He kept on going inside, and that prompted other guys to do it as well. Because in a similar position, even Lacazette got through on Ivanovic. He came on the other side where the ball was tipped over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I must say that Ryan and I have been disagreeing a lot over the past weeks, but I do agree with this assessment, right? He doesn't seem like the guy. Tierney doesn't seem like the guy who's got, who's seen the stars and who's like, Real Madrid is where I want to be, and I want to be a Galactico. He wants to be in a good team, a hard-working team, with the ethos of, being the best on merit, not just on paper, on merit. And he will drag the other guys. So if we can inculcate that culture within Arsenal, we've got ourselves a player for the next, 7 years,
decade
more. Yeah. And he's going to be the mentor. So,
yeah,
absolutely love this guy to bits. He's never hid. He's always come out and expressed his displeasure in how the team was performing, and that we were in a bad space, and he said that things weren't going in our favor, but boy, did he turn it around.
Yeah. So moving on, a goal that harkens back to the glory days of Arsenal Football Club under Arsene Wenger. Hector Bellerin to Emile Smith-Rowe to Alex Lacazette to Emile Smith-Rowe to Bukayo Saka to the back of the net. So I don't really know what more can. I went back and I watched the goal, and thank God Hector Bellerin, to a degree. This is going to sound very strange to say, but that's not a pass I would have wanted him to make. There were 3 guys there, and ESR was coming towards Bellerin, taking away all the space and really like closing everything down. I when I watched it back, I'm shocked that there wasn't a change of possession here. Just the way that it happened, but a little touch off the back of his heel. Or was it Saka that got the ball right away? I can't remember. Anyway, the bottom line, ESR's pass from Bellerin was absolutely tremendous. Stan, I'll come back to you. What'd you see on the second goal?
It was a good team goal. It was good to see everybody, sort of a lot of players being involved. It was nice for the teeny side of it, which was a real good individual goal.
Right. Yep.
But it's also a team game, right? So it's also nice to see a little bit of cohesion, and probably what we're seeing is the fruits of training sessions that what Mikel Arteta has been implementing. So I like someone that made a comment earlier, that we have to compartmentalize everything and take it match by match. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to be really, really happy when we win the matches and gush and enjoy talking about it. And the same thing that when we lose matches and we play badly, I'm quite happy to come on here and, put the spotlight on those people that are letting us down.
Right.
I'm not going to get carried away. Because I know what Arsenal was like. I'm still at this stage where we've done really well now, but when we head into the next game, we're kind of starting up again. We're ripping that page off. We're starting again. I'm not going to be going in there all confident and like, yeah, we got 4 in the last game. I'm still at this stage where I'm a little bit tentative because I've got a bit of a long memory with what's happening with Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? I know. Over the last couple of seasons, there's a lot of shit's gone down. So I'm not counting. I'm not resting on laurels yet.
No, I absolutely. Ryan.
I mean, again, I don't really know the ad. I just love. I feel like for me, it's. I don't want to say it's hard to talk about this. It's. I'd rather just sit back and watch. Watching them play, it kind of weird. It kind of lights a fire into me. Someone who's recently. I've been playing football for as long as since I could walk, and I've been dealing lately with a few injuries here and there, and I think just watching them play, it's just I don't know. I just don't even want to sit here and talk to you guys. I want to just go out and play, I'm getting old, and I know my parents are always telling me, you gotta stop playing. You're always getting hurt. This, that, and the other thing. But watching these young guys play and watching their cohesion and their movement forward, it's really. It's fun to watch. It's fun to try to emulate, and it's just something that we've kind of been missing for a little bit, and especially for me, for Smith-Rowe, he's somebody that I've been shouting out from the rooftops about. When he was playing for the U23s, and I've been talking about him even before he really made it to the first team. So to see him, really play, to see him really, come into his own, it's almost like watching a kid, graduate high school or something. So it's really awesome to see, and I just don't want the fan base to go too crazy. #chubby for the kids, but we need to take these games. And I think someone said in the chat, just put your head down next game. Let's go.
That's what it is. That's really what it's like. We enjoy it in the moment. But it's no days off now. It's no days off. It's back to the grind.
All hands on deck.
All hands. The next time we're back at London Colney for training, it's all hands on deck. It's back to the grind. That's in the rearview mirror now. Now it's focus on Newcastle and the FA Cup, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. So the third goal and Ryan hit on this a little earlier, but might have been the most important of the match because it's that sort of dreaded 2-goal lead. That the next, what's that?
I was talking about the fourth goal.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the third that we
the one that he kneed into the.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at any rate, the third goal. I always think that third goal in a 2-0 situation is. I always think that's the most important goal because the next team that gets it, it's gonna build momentum towards the next goal. So you really don't want the losing team to get it because now they're coming. You know what I mean? And it was like being up 3-0 against Chelsea, and all of a sudden they nick one. And what happens? Now we've given up a penalty, an extra time, and things just all of a sudden start to unravel very quickly. Thank God it didn't. But right place, right time. Not going to go into too much about this. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't ESR's goal. I'm not going to lie to you. I was thrilled at the goal. Yeah. There's a little part of me. I was like, damn it, come on, man.
If you saw the shot, it was a very nice shot. It just happened. The defender was right there in the way.
But back again to something that Ryan had said, or no, was Stan, I think, was saying earlier. It was one of you two that said 3 weeks ago, a month ago, that ball's not going in the net. Even Lacazette's first goal, that ball's not going in the net. That ball's going wide. That ball's going right into the keeper. He's fumbling it and just losing possession right there. So I think there's also a little bit of thank the football gods for Lacazette's first goal. Because ball bounced right to him. He does what he's supposed to do. So anybody want to add anything on there? Thoughts on Lacazette?
I was just going to say that I was talking about the second goal, but this is fine too. Like I to an extent.
Sorry.
Agree with you. I to an extent agree with you there too. I do think that given our luck, I do think Lacazette would have missed it too. But yeah, I agree. I kind of wish it was ESR's goal. I think it was.
That's selfish.
I think it was a former Arsenal player, a Ajayi, who blocked it and got in his way.
I think it was, yeah.
So, it is what it is. He'll get his goal, though. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. Anybody else on really on either of Lacazette's goals while we're here, and then we'll wrap this up. We'll move on a little bit.
So this goal that we scored, the third one, was as you rightly said, Lacazette is in a rich vein of form now for his standards, right? Like, it wasn't like this shot that he had, although it was a first time finish. It wasn't like he smacked it with his laces. He side-footed it, and it went around the defender who was there. So he had that presence of mind to hit it first time, but not to smack at it so hard that it goes above or it goes to the side, etc. So that was important. And Lacazette has been playing well. He needs to be given a shout out for his performance in this game, in the last couple of games, as opposed to his mate Aubameyang, who hasn't been doing much. Lacazette has been playing really well. And a couple of moments before that, also he came one-on-one with the keeper, in which Ceballos played a ball in, which he couldn't convert, and that was okay. But this goal, the third goal, again, the main architect of the third goal for me was Saka. Basically, it was Saka who went on the right side, and he chipped it on his right peg and put the ball in which the defender tried to clear and hit the post, went to ESR, who hit, and then came to Lacazette. But the main threat that came out, the main situation that was created was by Saka. And that's the same thing about the second goal as well. The second goal that Arsenal scored. The difference right now is that we're breaking lines, right? That pass that you talked about, Tanner, Bellerin played it to ESR, and ESR sort of somehow got it to Lacazette. I'm not really sure how he got it to Lacazette, because it was such an acute angle in which it was played. But that was the moment when the game changed, right? Because the lines were broken. Lacazette was in between defense and midfield right outside the box and he could play it back outside, right? So these are the changes that we're saying. Players are being instinctive. They're playing to their, what they've been taught at Hale, and these guys have been taught this for years, right? It's not just 1 or 2 sessions that they've been doing this. This is their DNA,
Right.
and this is the fun of watching football, right? Whatever the result may be, I have supported Arsenal even through the bad days because we used to play good football. Yeah, because because a goal is scored maybe in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. A move can develop in that much time.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. Yeah,
but the game is of 90 minutes, right?
Right.
And the second goal epitomizes Arsenal, and the reason why I enjoy those goals which are tap-ins more than bangers, from outside the box, because that really shows the character of the team. And similarly for the third goal, the way it was played, how Saka shuffled his feet, you wouldn't want to defend him. He took it on his right foot, put a lovely ball in. In the first half, he took it on his left foot and put a ball in that Aubameyang just couldn't reach, right? It just flashed past the goal.
Yeah.
So Saka is the main threat right now amongst the kids for me, but the kids have given that energy that that we required so desperately. And the way Ceballos celebrated outside the box for that third goal, he went on his knees and he was that shows a togetherness in the team, right? Like everybody is in the fight now. And as they say, confidence goes up through the stairs and comes down with the elevator, right? So when we were down, there was nobody who was sort of grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. But now I'm sure these guys are going to enjoy training. They're going to enjoy going into the next match, reading what's coming out of the media, etc., etc. I just don't want them to go back to their old habits of trying to think that, oh, now we've won 3 matches, now we score these team goals, we score individual goals, and now we're going to blitz, Crystal Palace, we're going to blitz Newcastle because they're lower in the table than us. That is the attitude that has got us to this situation in the first place. So we have to take each game at a time. And like Stan said, that page is off. Now you're on a new page. You need to
head down,
professionalism.
Head down. You look at what is right in front of you,
Yeah.
and what is right in front of us is an FA Cup match against Newcastle on Saturday. So we get a week off now. So we'll have a full week off. Then we get 4 days off before going against Crystal Palace. So Stan, put your manager cap on. How do you approach the FA Cup match on Saturday in terms of lineup?
We don't have to really worry about rotation as such because of the gap to the next game.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So you're not forced into a decision. And for me, with the way that some of the people are playing that are coming into the team, like the return of Martinelli, ESR, for example, so players for me now like David Luiz, and Willian, they can't just walk into the team. For me, players like David Luiz, Willian, and maybe even Nicola Pepe, they're now on the rotation end of things. They should not be automatic shoe-ins for the squad because the other people that are in there are earning their place. I'm not one of Lacazette's biggest fans in the last while. However, he's in form at the moment. So, Lacazette for me has to start if we're looking to get far in that competition, especially when we don't have to rotate. He has to start because he's in a rich frame of form. Is he going to put Eddie in? Is he going to move Lacazette back to the middle? I think there's probably more chance of seeing Eddie maybe start the game. He's going to rest players, but I don't understand why you would rest players. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mikel Arteta approaches it. Is he going to put out his best starting 11, or is he going to think, well, it's a cup game? I need to sort of like maybe give time to other players. Hopefully, one of those players is not Runnison. You know, I mean, traditionally, our second goalkeeper gets some cup game minutes, right? But wow, I mean, if you want to stay in the competition, then that is a hell of a gamble to take. No matter what you may have said to the player when he first joined, if you've made any kind of promises. So if we had another league game sort of like very close afterwards, then you'd expect some rotation. I would expect maybe a Pepe to come in, a David Luiz to play, maybe even a Willian to play. But because we don't have that rotation, should we not try and keep the good momentum going rather than we put some of these faces back in? We have a bad result, and then the high becomes another blip and a low. That's how I'm kind of looking at things at the moment. I mean, Willian, for example, if you're Mikel Arteta, you've seen what he offers when he starts games, which is nothing. And when you bring him on for the last 8 minutes at the end of the game, he offers exactly the same. Nothing.
Yeah.
What is it that you do with this guy? Do you see where I'm coming from? He needs now to be kept well away unless we need rotation or an injury or something like that. But
yeah.
I know that we're talking about a win and we're all supposed to be happy at the moment, but it does worry me that Willian is a player that we're going to be coming back to a lot more on these podcasts as his 3-year contract whittles down, because we're saddled with this guy now. We're saddled.
Let's hope somebody from Portugal or Spain come in and decide they'll take him off our hands, and
whoever it is, they'll have to have more money than sense.
Yeah, they don't. You know what? If they want him, they don't even necessarily need money. Just take him and pay his wages. We don't. I don't even need anything for him. Just take him and pay his wages. That's where I'm at with it right now. You want to give me $1? Give me $1. I don't need anything for him. If you just pay all his wages and take him off our hands, done. That's where I'm at with it. I don't want to go too negative right now.
But I will say as well, who thought we would be sitting at this point in the season and we're talking that Lacazette is a high scorer?
Yeah. Raise your hand if you put a $5 on that one.
You have to remember, right? He's never put up higher numbers than Oliver Giroud yet since he's been with us, and he was supposed to be the upgrade on Oliver Giroud. Because Giroud allegedly couldn't get us to where we needed to go. So let's see. I mean, if he's in a run of form like he is, you've got to keep playing him for me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think so. The question really is, I think we've seen against Brighton, with the exception of Thomas Partey, and I think the only other, well, I shouldn't say with the exception of only Thomas Partey, we know what our best 11 is, I think, now. Some of them aren't playing due to injury or COVID or self-quarantine. Thomas Partey walks straight back into the lineup. Gabriel walks straight back into the lineup, and I'm talking about Mega Legs. Not Martinelli, although Martinelli's part of this as well.
Whose place does Partey take for you? For all of you?
See, I think let me take it first. I
know who Ryan was.
Well, I know who Ryan. Well, see, here's the thing though, because I'm not. All I'll say with Thomas Partey is, do you leave Danny Ceballos in, so therefore he would take Granit Xhaka's place, or does El Neni? Do you try to rekindle a little bit of the chemistry that El Neni and Thomas Partey had in the brief spell that they played together? But they looked like they played off each other well in the midfield. Do we go back to, is that the best 11? Or so we'll get into the Thomas Partey thing, because I actually had a thought about this. I don't want to see Thomas Partey played as a defensive midfielder. I think that takes away from all of his abilities. If his primary responsibility is to be a defensive midfielder, then I think ideally what Mikel Arteta is going to look for then is that box-to-box midfielder, the transition from defense to attack, but that's not Thomas Partey's role. And if all of a sudden he starts trying to do too much, now he gets caught out of position. So I like El Neni in that defensive midfielder role in terms of what we have. And I want Partey to take, I guess it would be take Granit Xhaka's place right now, or Danny Ceballos' place right now, bring El Neni back into the mix and keep ESR as your, if we're calling him a 10, then keep ESR as your 10. So that's where I'm at on Thomas Partey. But anyway, yeah, go ahead. Don't everybody jump at once.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking to.
Anybody. It's all you guys don't need me to run the show here.
I usually you do. Usually you're like, hey, Ryan, what do you think? Hey, Ryan, what do you think? Hey, Stan, what do you think? Tickle me. What?
So wait, you didn't mention you there. So does that mean we don't have to bring you in because none of us care what you think? I'm kidding. Don't pout. Go ahead.
No, so Stan posed a lot of interesting questions. The one thing I will say is I think we have to play Eddie. I think Eddie's going to play. I think he's going to start for us. I think it's going to – it's tough because every game –
are you saying that that's what Mikel will do, or was that what you want, like play Eddie? Because me personally, if you're going to play someone else, and I mean, it's our choice and not Mikel's, I'd rather see Balogun. I've seen too much of Eddie. I know what Eddie can and can't do. But what was you thinking?
I think I know if depending on how you answer that question, Ryan, I think I know why you're choosing to play Eddie.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So I think playing Eddie here is good for us in multiple ways. I think that kind of rewind a little bit. Every time ESR starts, I love it. It gets me excited, but I get scared because he's known to get hurt, a lot of soft tissue injuries. So I get nervous for him. But we need to see what works with him and what doesn't, because we do know, okay, ESR is a key piece to our success and to what we're building and what we're doing. Martinelli, I would say, is a key piece. Even though he didn't play against West Brom, he's a key piece. Saka is a key piece to our success. So, and I would like to, crazier things have happened, but you got to assume Lacazette is not long for this world. He's not going to be with us for very much longer. So with these key pieces in place, I think you got to play Eddie and you got to see what he could do. And if you can't,
you don't think you've seen what he can do?
Personally, I wouldn't play him. I would play Balogun, but I just think you kind of want to, I guess, if the ship's leaking and you're starting to plug holes a little bit, but you got to see, you really need to see what Eddie's made of. And I think this is going to be his best chance to shine. If he's really got it, if he's really going to make it as an Arsenal player, I don't think he's going to. This is the game he's going to show up with the ESR, the Saka, the Martinelli. Now, it could be a flip side. He shows up. Oh, great. You just put $5 million into our bank accounts because we're going to say for $5 million more dollars or pounds, or euros, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Sell 5 million more monies to get him out. Because, I know a lot of people saw Balogun's tweet about, either he's the biggest troll in Twitter history. You got to think Balogun's signing for us. So if you think that, then you got to think Eddie's not going to be here much longer. So I think
they both got the same agent.
Exactly. Yes.
For me, the agent's going to want one of them to move because that's how he makes his money, right?
Well, ideally, as an agent, you want to give your client the best deal. You want to make the most money out of said client. Now, yes, Jessica. No, I agree. I think Eddie has enough time. I'm not saying we're going to see if he can make it here and keep him and extend him and do all these things. No. I simply want him to, because this is his best chance to shine for us. No question about it. I want him to up his value. I want him gone. I don't say want him gone. It sounds so mean. I just think we need to raise his value a little more. The $20 million I hear that we're supposed to sell him for, I don't think it's enough. Just given his age and his demographic and the way he plays, I think he's worth way more than $20 million. I know that sounds crazy. Wow. As someone who doesn't think he's good enough for our club, I think he's worth, just based on his age and the record. I get it. He broke the record U23 level for
If
England.
we got $20 million for Eddie and Ketia, I'm running to stand naked. I'm literally running from Pittsburgh to Vancouver, Canada, naked, and I won't even cross a bridge over the Mississippi to do it. I'll swim across.
Okay, now with that being said,
wow. If you come all the way here, I'm not in.
Yeah, right. I get there, dripping wet, naked.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit on the Not Another Arsenal podcast. We talked about this with Pepe about how, like, don't be surprised when we sell Pepe to another team. He's going to be really good. And I think the same thing is going to be said for Eddie. I think we're going to sell Eddie, and he's going to be really good on another team. He doesn't fit our system. He's not going to make it here, and I think that's it. He doesn't suit on what we do.
Right? If they both got the same agent, is there any credence in thinking they know that Eddie kind of knows Eddie's representation, however you want to call it. They're aware that Arsenal are listening to offers, and Balogun's representation. They're aware that
it's the same thing to both agents.
Yeah, we want to move with Balogun, and we're thinking of getting rid of Eddie, so there's going to be space for him, and that's why Balogun's all of a sudden now, like you say, he seems to be letting a few hints that he wants to stay at Arsenal. So do you think everybody already knows inside what's going to go down? Sounds like it to me, right? Sounds like it to me. But Eddie goes off to Wolves maybe for 20 odd million. Balogun signs a new contract. One goes, one stays. They already kind of know. Do you know what I mean?
I just want more money in our pockets, and I think the only way to do that is we play Eddie here. And I just think I just don't see us playing Balogun in his first start as an Arsenal senior team player in an FA Cup game where we're like known to be like one of the top teams. To me it just doesn't make sense. It's not something that is in Arteta's cards. But to me that's another thing too. You talked about Runnerson, how Runnerson shouldn't play. I think this is the perfect game. You play again, same idea as Eddie. I think you play Matt Macy here because I think Matt Macy's not going to be here much longer either. He raises value. Oh, he's better than Runnerson, or who knows? Maybe we're going to get rid of Runnerson and keep Matt Macy as our second, which I don't think we're going to do that. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of and this is a very interesting time period. It's a transfer window. We should anyways have a lot of nice fancy displays in our window for people to buy. People that we don't necessarily want, hand-me-downs from your cousin's sister's ex-boyfriend and this and that. And the other thing, you want guys to shine and you want guys to make you money. And I think this is a game that's perfect for that. We're in the transfer window. We're playing a team that's not that good. And it's kind of a game that we should win, even if we play a William and Luis, which I don't want to see anywhere near our lineup. I don't care. FA Cup first round against the Wanderers.
Let me get AFC High's super chat in here, and thank you very much, man. Really appreciate that. Just real quick, this is so tough. Where do we think we'll finish? I can't right now. I'm going to say top 10. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go any further than that because I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Stan said before. I need to see a run of 7-8 games where, sure, I can live with losing one or two of those games as long as the performance is there. You know what I mean? As long as we don't revert back to go into our shell Arsenal and hope we nick a 0-0 draw. So I'm going to say top 10 here.
I also too to tackle that as well. I think it just depends on other teams because I think other teams are dropping points
right,
like Liverpool against Southampton. And again, to that being said, a team like a Southampton doing really well. Hassan Hutel is doing a really good job. So anything could happen. But so again, like I was saying, I just think that there's certain positions that kind of need to be focused on, and players like I think bringing Partey back, I think is a big deal. I don't know how long you play him. I don't know if you maybe sub him on at halftime or start him and only play him till halftime. I don't really know. But I definitely think like someone like a Matt Macy has to play. I think Eddie's got to play. Or not. Maybe they have plans for him. They agreed. I don't know. I just I'm all about raising value for players. It's a critical time for us.
Let me get Stan and Rowan in on AFC High's question real quick. Okay. Let's come back to that. Just super chat. Let's get that done. So, Stan, topsy-turvy season, man.
Just to finish on Eddie, as a point that Jessica made when we were talking about his value, and she said it's the type of striker Eddie is that makes him less valuable. And I think she's right that, I don't watch a lot of the under-23 games, but I've seen quite a lot of Eddie's minutes now. I feel that I've seen a lot of him. And I've seen very little of Balogun. But when I've seen the little I've seen of Balogun, I want to see more of him. I'm like, okay, this looks really interesting. I'd like to see more of him. Where with Eddie, I'm like, I kind of think I know what you're all about now. and I think that we can probably do a little bit better. And Lawrence Emmanuel was right. He said Eddie couldn't get into the Leeds Championship squad last year. Why are people raving about him?
He doesn't suit us.
And you know, I think Bielsa was open when he took Eddie on loan to have you know, some competition for Bamford, but I think that he showed how one-dimensional he is, and it didn't work for what Bielsa was doing at Leeds. Hence the reason why he was being kept out of the side by Jamie Bamford.
I think he doesn't suit their system. I think we loaned him out to the wrong club. I think he's someone that's going to. I don't want to say Defoe. Defoe's probably a bad example, but I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna help a team. I think he's gonna be better than what we think he is on another team. That being said, I don't want him here. I don't think he's good enough to play for us. And I agree with Jessica Black. I think he's a poacher. But with the, you know, being a poacher, you're gonna score goals. He's gonna score goals. He's gonna, you know, he may be like the top goal scorer in the championship. I think right now that's if he wins. I don't know if it's called the Golden Boot in the championship, but if he were to win the Golden Boot in the championship, that's better than what I think the type of player he is. You know?
As well. And I was about to. She took the word, Jessica. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just to say, you know, we hear a lot about Eddie, you know, breaking records with England at under 23 levels and things like that. But I also remember that Danny Welbeck, he always used to seem to be, you know, an international level. He'd be worth sticking a fiver on if he was in the team because he always used to be able to tuck one away. But the way that we played at Arsenal, the style, it didn't always kind of suit him. The rest of the team were playing in a different way. And I think it's going to be I think it's a little bit of the same for Eddie. It's the wrong time for Eddie. When Arsenal was looking for his fox in the box, maybe, you know, Eddie would have probably been a little bit more ideal for what Arsenal had in mind. But I'm not sure that that's what the team is kind of playing for now, is a fox in the box. Because what's that stat you keep mentioning, Tanner, about Eddie's goals? Five
yards from goal average distance per goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he scored at one point, it was all 10 goals that he had scored for the club in all competitions. You added up their distance from goal, it was 50 yards. So he was 10 goals on average. He was 5 yards away from goal when he scored. So yeah, he's a poacher.
I'm not sure that's the kind of striker that you want Arsenal want to put out for 90 minutes. It might be the kind of striker that if you want to totally switch the game because the way that we're playing isn't working and we want to try something different, maybe it's an option to come off the bench, right? And he's done that a couple of times. I've seen Eddie come off the bench and score a decisive goal. Didn't he score one against West Ham?
Yeah.
Rohan, you're muted.
There was a couple of games.
Yeah. I think the first one that he had scored was when he was brought on against Norwich, right?
Oh, you mean back in the cup game?
Yeah, in the cup game in which twice, and he was brought in. But that's the thing, right? He knows to be in the right place at the right time, but that's a one-dimensional quality, like you said, right? For me, he seems like this player that Manchester City had on their books, Nacho, right? And from there, he used to score a lot of goals for City, and then from there he went to Leicester. And in Leicester, he's not. I used to think that he was a very good striker because he used to get a lot of goals. And then Gabriel Jesus came, and then he's shipped out, and he's not featuring in the squad unless this guy is injured. Vardy is injured, and I don't even know what's happening with him now because sometimes Harvey Barnes is playing up front, right? So that's the sort of player that I feel Eddie also is, and I think we've seen enough now, and that's not the style that we want to play. And if that's the situation, then we sort of cut our losses, move on, and not stop persisting with the same thing. It's not going to work out, and try to give other players chances. That's on Eddie. Answering AFC High's question, where do I think we're gonna finish? Well, I think we're gonna finish maybe like between 6 and 8. That's where we're gonna finish. But I would love for us, of course, like all of us, to turn it around. And if we can make some smart changes in January, maybe get somebody on loan, or maybe a permanent, I don't know who we can get for cover for Eddie, for ESR, or cover. By cover, I don't mean an understudy, but competition for him. And if Martinelli can be fit, if Partey can be fit, if these things turn, if Aubameyang can sort of come back into form, for which he needs to be taken out of the team, first of all, because it's just not working for him, and the team is playing better without him. I would feel that the team would play better without him. He needs to be taken out for a couple of games, right? That's what I feel. Now, if all of these things happen, the way the league is going, I could also see us finishing 5th or 6th, right? Like, that's a position that we could get, so who knows? I mean, the league is open. Everybody is beating everyone. We've picked up form at the right time. Everybody has had their blips, and hopefully we're past that, and now confidence will ride us through for the rest of the season.
So I wanted to say this earlier. Ryan has a spirit animal. It's Mike Hernandez. I think I have found my spirit animal because I just don't ever remember disagreeing with anything this guy says. Thomas Morgan is, I mean, it's almost like you're in my head, man. Like every comment you make is, I'm with you. And you made a comment earlier about you play Eddie to put him in the shop window. And actually, when Ryan was going through this, that's kind of what I thought you were going to say, that you play Eddie on Saturday to put him in the shop window to see if you can't bolster his value just a hair more.
I agree.
If the Wolves rumor is true, and I'll say this, it would make a lot of sense when you think about it, because they're without
Jimenez.
Thank you. Yeah, Jimenez. Thank you. I always want to say it doesn't matter who I always want to say.
They signed Fabio Silva, who's supposed to be like a really good young talent for them, but he's not playing well.
It would make sense for Wolves to come in for somebody, I think, like Eddie, just for cover, because you don't know when Jimenez is going to come back. So it would make sense. But throw him out there. I'm not saying I would, but I'm saying the reason, if you did, that would be the reason to do it. Not it's just to showcase him and try to wring 3 million more pounds out of whoever's going to buy him. And Ryan, boy, oh boy, more than 20 million.
I think he's good. I think if you look at his profile, I think he could definitely generate more than 20 million. But no,
Stan, what were you going to say?
I'm a little bit more cynical. I'm worried that we play him and Wolves put the phone down.
That's the side to it.
Or we lose 3 million off the asking price.
Or you play him and he rips out, and he destroys his knee or something, and now you can't sell him.
I mean, to me, this is the perfect game. It's not even just Eddie. Today, I think this is the perfect game where you are making the nicest, organized, neatest, fanciest shop window you can make. I think this is the perfect game. It's not like smack dab in the middle of the window, but it's right like beginning of the middle. Like your teams are still talking, looking at players, scouting. And we have a lot of interesting areas, like, the striker position. Goalie is a big thing, Matt Macy, I think, is someone that we can get some money for. Not a lot, because Runderson's not really doing a job. I don't think anyone's going to buy him. I don't think we should risk playing him. And I think we have a lot of good younger goalie talent. Arthur, I'm going to butcher his name, but Okonkwo. He's a 19-year-old. He plays for us. I think he's going to be a phenomenal talent for us. He's a goalie. He's training with the first team now. He's really young. We're not going to play him anytime soon, but I think we should start to maybe build him up. It's hard, and that's the thing too. It's hard with goalies. You can't sub a goalie on the 60th minute and bring him in. So I think it's just
kind of has to cut his teeth in the lower levels, and you kind of if he shows well there, that when he gets to the senior team,
and like I said, again, like someone like a Carl Hein, who's also playing for us. He's the goalie for Estonia, the national team. I think these two in particular goalies, I think they have talent to play for us. I do. So I think now it's just kind of like, okay, maybe we need to build Matt Macy's resume up. And as AFC High coming to Super Chat, thanks a lot, dude. Matt Macy is 6'7" in height. And I said this last podcast. There was a picture of him and all the goalies. I think it was him, Leno, Martinez, and another goalie. I don't remember. Maybe it was a goalkeeping coach. I don't remember. He was a skyscraper compared to all three of them. It was insanity. So I think you build a profile like his up, or who knows? Maybe you put Runnerson in. I don't know. I just think that this is the game. Barring anything wild, I think we win this game pretty handily. But this game, you shot your tongue. I am. I'm gonna bite my tongue, and I've said that multiple times, and we've lost. So it is what it is. But like I said, this is. I don't even call it an FA Cup game. I call it a shop window game. This is where we should be shopping people out 100%.
So Eddie should be then, right? Who would you start on Saturday, Balogun or Eddie?
Who would I start, or who should we start?
Who would you start?
Balogun.
Guys?
Yeah. Well,
I guess I'd rather go with Balogun as well. If they are looking to get rid of Eddie, then I think other teams already kind of know what he can do, what he can't.
I was going to say, I don't think Eddie's
got that time into what we're going to keep.
I personally don't think we're going to boost Eddie's value unless he scores 7 goals. I don't think it's going to happen. Exactly. From a business standpoint, I'm just looking at it from that. This is where you play Eddie to boost his. In reality, I don't think you get much more money.
It's going to have to play it. You know what I mean? To get money added on. But
and it's also a recency bias too. Like the only thing I will say is you may not raise his value, but you may attract more teams to him. So you may start a bidding war, which I guess then in that case you may get a higher value for him. You could bring teams in and never heard of him. Like, maybe he could suit us. Like, moving
on to what you were saying about the keepers and AFC High about Matt Macy. Obvious to me that Arsenal obviously think that Matt Macy's rubbish. They must do, right? They must do. Because you would think that if you're the third choice goalkeeper, and you sell the second choice goalkeeper, do you not move up the rung of the ladder? Is it, especially with the amount of time that you've been at the club, surely you would be naturally thinking that you're now going to get the chance in a Premier League game to sit on the bench. And if there's an injury, you might get a shout. And if Leno twists his ankle in the warm-up, you're going to get in. And they go out and buy someone else to leapfrog you, and you're still the third keeper. Surely you've got to be thinking about, if you really want to play football, you've got to be thinking about leaving.
And also on top of that, the player that they bring in was a goalie in League One. His team gets relegated from League One, and then another goalie takes a spot. He gets benched for another goalie.
And not only that, you actually see his actual performances. Man's throwing ball in the back of the net. I mean, if you're Matt Macy and you're not getting a sniff over that, you might either you're happy where you are, you play golf, and you're pocketing your 40 grand a week, and you're content, or you're like, no, man, come on. I'd rather go to a championship side and be a number 2. And try and battle my way in when someone gets injured or bad form, than being leapfrogged and being the third choice goalkeeper that doesn't even play in the Carabao Cup games.
And to also too, listen, I know his Man City game was one of the worst goalie performances probably we've seen, but even the game before that, I forget what he might have been Sheffield in the League Cup or Leicester. I don't remember. Whoever we played in the League Cup, he played. Or maybe it was a Europa League game. I don't even remember. He wasn't good there either. I don't think he may have let in 1 goal. He didn't have a bad performance, as the stats would say. But just watching him carry the ball, I remember saying to myself, this is the guy we signed. He's not good. I don't get it. He looked very scared. He just didn't look confident with the ball. At his feet, even catching. I get it. It takes time, Again,
right? We go and buy players because we get, it's like. Gazidis leaves. Who do we need as a general manager? Gazidis is like, they make recommendations to someone that's already there. The goalkeeping coach, we need to buy a number 2 goalkeeper. The goalkeeping coach, I know someone. I know this geezer that drinks down the pub. His name's Runnerson. How about actual scouting of players and, you know, looking at stats and number crunching and looking for a profile rather than just taking the easy route because your pals told you that, you know, some geezer that drinks down the same pub as you or whatever. It just seems that we're shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, if we're going to spend money, we need to make sure that the money is being allocated to the right personnel. We can't afford to just take nudge, wink, wink, you know, recommendations from people around the club. We're bringing in a guy from Iceland that nobody's scouted. I mean, as I said before, man's throwing ball in the back of the net. Whoever recommended him, they should be out on their ear and all. If that's what their judgment is. If my goalkeeping coach is recommending that, I don't want him training my goalkeepers.
And I think on top of that too, like when I know no one compared these two players, but when you look at Runnerson, yeah, maybe. When you look at Runnerson and then you look at like, and you know, I hate bringing this up, but when you bring up Emi Martinez, you know, Emi Martinez was our backup goalie, and Emi Martinez and Runnerson are night and day. Whatever you want to say about Martinez, whatever, but Runnerson and Martinez are night and day. You know, and someone like Martinez, he was with us for 6-7 years. He got loaned out, or he was with us for 10 years. He got loaned out 7 times. So, and look where he is now. He's doing a pretty good job at Villa. So then you have to look and you go, okay, well, is Runnerson that bad? Is Emmy really that good? Is it a mix? Because in my opinion, I know again, no one compares these two, nor really kind of should they. But you kind of look at it and you're like, is Runnerson that bad because Emmy was that good? Like, I just don't know I don't really know. Because deep down when I think about it, I don't really care who our backup goalie is unless you're Runnerson and you're letting in goals like that. To me, your backup goalie, I don't even understand how that backup goalie needs rest. That doesn't make any sense to me.
He's always resting.
Yeah, so like I frankly don't really care. If you look at the backup goalies around the Premier League, you look at who's Man City's Bravo. You look at Man U is Romero. Liverpool is Adrian. You know, I don't think they're that. I don't think these goals are any good. Tottenham's is
even we were better. Even we were better fared when our backup goalkeeper was you know, Didi David Ospina.
Yeah, you know? and everyone shat on Ospina. And listen, I wasn't his hugest fan, but he was a great shot stopper. Granted, he was always in the ground at least 2 times a game. He had the medical staff always come over.
Couldn't kick the ball past the halfway line, man.
Yeah. Speed. Didn't go halfway again. But you know, he wasn't terrible. Like you gotta think now, like we had Ospina and everyone wanted him gone.
A good backup keeper myself.
No,
and then
Ospina, I don't know. Like Ospina, I didn't feel like he was that bad. He was okay as a second.
But everybody wanted him gone. Everyone wanted him
under his value when we did sell him. And the issue with Runnerson is, see, when David De Gea came into
the issue with Runnerson is he's dog shit.
Yeah, he's dog shit, right? Like, when De Gea came into the Premier League, there were a lot of people criticizing him, but there was one problem with him, that he couldn't come out and gather the ball, or he couldn't command the penalty box in set pieces, right? But this guy just seems scared. You know, he's 25. He's not like a 19-year-old. He's 25. He seems to be out of his depth. You know, he seems like, you know, you've seen that David Moyes meme of he's sitting with the computer. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, that is what this Runnerson guy seems like. So I don't know what we've done, especially in a transfer in a time when we've seen how important the backup goalkeeper was. Actually, we've sold that backup keeper, which is fine. We made a profit on him. That's great. He wanted to go and play first team, so that's good for him. But we've changed him. We backed him up with this guy who just instills no confidence. Now everybody's seen it. He's been found out. Now we're gonna be facing shots from like 25 yards every time he plays. You know, because people will know that there's a chance, and he himself is going to be under so much pressure. This guy deleted his social media because of what fans said. Like, if he can't handle pressure on social media, He can't handle pressure on social media. What pressure is he going to handle in a cup tie or in the Premier League? Imagine when the fans are back. Oh God!
I think it just sucks for me. Is we have, in my opinion, like I said, Hein. I'm not going to pronounce his name again. Arthur Okonkwo. I'm going to try Okonkwo. I don't know, but I think we have another one too. We have a really good young goalkeeping core, but they're nowhere near ready. We need a couple more years to kind of, like I think one of you said, get their.
I'll tell you who's nowhere near ready. Runnerson is nowhere.
Yeah, I know. You would think someone like Matt Macy, he has experience playing for us, and I'm not saying he's good. I'm not saying what are they doing? He needs to be a backup goalkeeper. But every time I've seen him play, he's not terrible. He's not Runnerson, and it's not even that. I think what got me more mad is we went out of our way, and like Stan said, we went out of our way to buy him. We paid 1.2 mil, or we paid something. And we should have got him we should have got a goalie on a free or something. It's again, yeah, I know if Leno gets hurt, we're screwed. But
see, here's how I see it with a backup goalkeeper. You've got two kind of avenues to have. You've got the avenue that we currently have, and that's a backup keeper who's not really far off age-wise from our first goalkeeper. So then you have to start making deals where you say things like, you can play cup games, irrespective of whether they're any good or not. You're going to give them this competition to play in, and then you find that you're getting yourself now to the semi-final, and you're going to still play him in the final regardless. Or do you have a backup goalkeeper who has just finished being the first keeper for a team? He's maybe in his early 30s. He's on a slight downward trajectory. He's happy to sit on the bench. You will play your first goalkeeper in every single game that he is fit and able to. And the only time that your backup goalkeeper gets a sniff is through injury or suspension. I personally would prefer to go for the latter, because I think that a goalkeeper is so key to a team that I don't like all of this. And Arsene Wenger started the trend, you're going to play in this competition regardless. And I'm like, yeah, I prefer my players to play on form, not regardless, Well, he's helped us to get all the way to the final. We got a plan, but what if he's having a bit of a stinker? So that's where we are. We've got, Runnerson's not far away in age from Leno.
Shades of playing Petr Cech at Baku.
Yeah, you got to keep him interested by playing him in these games. And now we're committed to this guy Runnerson, unless somehow we go out and spend money on another backup keeper, and then we've got Runnerson on the books, and then we've still got Dan Macy. Get a goalkeeper that's just finishing off at a team. That's going to understand the situation, but he's still capable when called upon.
It's unfortunate because we're going to spend more money, and we're gonna have to buy another backup goalkeeper unless they think that Runnerson could, we could maybe teach him and shake these kinks out, But our younger goalies are not ready. We're going to have to buy another goalie, and that's more money that we're wasting.
What's the other goalkeeper we've got on our books? Do you know, Ryan? I think he's named something like Iliev.
Oh yeah, he's on loan. He's from Macedonia.
Yeah.
He's all right. We have Hillison too. He's the starting goalie for the U23s. He is not good. I don't want.
I thought he was really good.
No, he's not good. He might be worse than Runnerson. Runnerson might get his job.
Backup goalkeeper is.
And he's made some real bad decisions.
You have to invest in that position, and here's why: because you're literally one devastating injury away from your season being ruined at that position. Imagine, God forbid, Bernd Leno pick up any kind of injury after absolutely.
I mean, he did against Brighton. I literally was like, oh, we might get relegated. I was like, oh, we're done. I don't even know if I was on an Arse Bros podcast or I was on some podcast. I was like ringing the funeral bells. I was like, oh, here come,
that's one transfer that I don't understand. It's like you really did go the cheap route here. You don't know. You don't know anything about it.
We didn't have to. We could have we could have just said Matt Macy, that's it, done.
I'd rather have right now. I've been given what he did against City. I'd rather have Matt Macy.
Walked in and wrote his name down on Mikel Arteta's fag packet. Right, and Mikel Arteta picked it up and went, okay, we'll get that guy.
Have you seen this man?
Yeah.
Like Stan said, all we really need is a goalie for injuries and suspensions. I don't see Bert Leno ever getting suspended.
But he has to be of relative quality, because if that happens,
you can
we see it right now.
Proud, right? Like there are plenty of these goalkeepers, the Ben Fosters of the world, and all of these guys who are steady. When they come in, they're not going to do something spectacular. They're not going to pull off worldies. They're not going to play out from the back like our first team goalkeeper. But what they are going to do is instill some confidence that, I will not be silly here. I will not get embarrassed here.
Do any of you guys remember when we had a backup goalkeeper called Alex Manninger? When we had David Seaman. Seaman got injured for a period of time. I think he was Austrian. I think he was Austrian or some shit, right? But he came in. He used to get really red cheeks. I remember that. He used to get really, really, really red cheeks. But the guy came in and he almost took Seaman's first place. He was given his chance. He came in. He was really, really good. And then he got another run of games a little bit later on, and he looked like he was having a nervous breakdown. But it was really good for a period of time where you thought to yourself, wow, this guy's going to usurp the great David Seaman.
But yeah, anyways, to your point, Tanner, about how we need to invest, it's kind of important. But if I go up to you and I go, hey, listen, we need a back goalie. Matt Macy's not doing it. I'm gonna try to sell you on a guy. I'm gonna tell you, so he was in a League One team. They happen to get demoted. The team's bad. Don't worry about that. They get demoted, and then he loses his spot as a starting goalie. Yeah, he got hurt. His missus left him, cheated on him. He's just having he had a bad couple games. You're gonna be like, let's pay this guy $2 million and bring him to I don't want to say a big top 6 club because we're not that right now, but a bigger Premier League team coming from. I don't even know. I think he came from what, Dijon, like the mustard, Dijon mustard. Yeah. I don't know the team name. I don't want to butcher the team name. I feel bad, but that's the only reason why I remember his team name, because it's after the mustard. But yeah, come on, in the boardroom, when you deliberate this, how does this get passed? How are you as Arteta or Adu? What's up, TD? How are you this guy's got to be better than Macy, even though he got demoted from a French league that's not even that good. Let's be real; it's probably the weakest out of the 5. And then he got demoted, and then he got getting kicked while he's down. He got his spot taken away from him. So I mean, it's and then on top of it, but we gotta pay some money for him for his services. We can't just get him for free.
Few people in the chat box are putting up Bergovic, Simon Bergovic from Huddersfield. That's exactly for me the kind of profile that I would want as my backup goalkeeper. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to play this guy every week. If my goalkeeper goes out for a little while.
Wait, was he the backup at Chelsea a couple of years ago? Or am I going crazy here?
A few places, isn't he, Bergovic? He's been at quite a few.
Yeah, he's been a few.
Yeah. He was Stoke. Remember, he used to be the keeper.
Wasn't he somewhere else? I thought he was a backup for a good team. I could be going crazy. I don't know.
I'll tell you in a second.
But yeah, I agree though. Like a Begovic, like you said, Forrester.
Like I said, the thing is, like Stan said, you need someone who is
Portsmouth, Stoke City, Chelsea, Bournemouth.
Yeah, he was Chelsea. Yeah, I'm not taking another Chelsea goalie. So no, I'm not taking Begovic. No way he's getting
Chelsea's mentioned. No,
I'll take Runnerson. I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna run away with Runnerson. I'll take him gladly.
At the end of the day, you need to invest in the position a little bit more than 1.2 million for a dude that you just described. I mean, because you want somebody that is okay with coming in and playing the odd cup game against a League One side. If we got drawn against Blackpool again, Portsmouth like we did last year.
All the games are dead rubber. And it's a dead rubber. Stick him in.
Right. The guy that is okay with being on the bench. He's he's the break glass in case of emergency kind of thing. But you give him the odd game just to, you're paying him, so you may as well play him. And give him give him a game here and there, throw him a bone, but not in a game that is of any importance. He'll come nowhere near a league game, and a cup game. I blame Arteta for starting Runnerson against Man City. Like, are you playing for the cup or not? Because if you don't care about it, then why'd you play everybody else? Why not trot a U23 team out there?
Fair, like I said earlier, I didn't think he was good before this Man City game, but I also didn't expect him to play that bad.
No, I didn't think he was good then. My point is, you're trying to stay in a competition. Like, there's
maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't sure. Maybe he didn't. He was like, you know what? We're not winning.
That could very well be.
Instead of damaging Leno's thing, and maybe he gets hurt. Let's just put Runnerson out there, and maybe they won't put double digits against us. We'll see what happens.
So there's I want to get more into a couple of the names that we're being heavily linked with.
Yeah.
But for the goalkeeper thing, and I think it goes to any player. You need a player that, like we said, is going to be okay with coming in and sitting on the bench. Like I keep saying, David Raya from Brentford, he's not going to be okay with coming in and being that kind of a player. He's just not going to be. So with that in mind, we're heavily linked with Emi Buendia from Norwich. Buendia and
Mike says Buendia.
Julian Brandt at Dortmund. So the one thing
Julian Draxler as well.
And I saw Draxler today.
It wouldn't be a transfer window.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So, do you remember when it used to be Willie Carvalho?
So I had another thought about this because I was like, yeah, okay, Buendia, Brandt, those are a couple of good names. I'd be really happy with either one of those guys. Here's the problem. We say we want to bring in a player for competition, not a player that's better, but not a player that's worse.
Why not?
Because at the end of the day, this is what I love about this fan base: the unrealistic expectations of, no, we need to go get all the best players, and we go and get all the best players, and then guess what? Wait, we haven't gotten all the best players, so we need to go out in this transfer window, go get all the best players. And then you go out and you get all of the perceived best players in that transfer window. And then the next transfer window rolls around and it's now we need to go and we need to get all the best players. And there's no consistency. So we've gotten to a point now where I think we're in agreement, and maybe I'm way off base here, but Gabriel Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Bukayo Saka, that's a trio that they have to lose their spot. They have to play themselves out of a starting role in the important games.
More. I'd add two. Mate, I'd add three more. I'd add Tierney to that. I'd add Partey to that.
Absolutely. Here's the I'm not. You're absolutely right.
And Gabriel.
The only reason I only mention those three is because we're not linked with anyone else in those.
Right.
So, Emi Buendia plays on the right.
Yeah.
Predominantly plays. He can play through the middle, but he predominantly plays on the right. So you go and you get Emi Buendia, and Emi Buendia comes in. Who you drop? You're gonna move Saka over to the left, drop Martinelli, and put Buendia on the right, or are you just gonna drop Bukayo Saka, who's been one of your best players the last year and a half? Or you go and you get Julian Brandt, who's going to come in and presumably take Emile Smith-Rowe's spot. The only player that I've seen heavily linked is Yves Bissouma at Brighton. That's a player that I could bring in and see him playing in the midfield with Thomas Partey. But my point is, you can't keep turning this over. You have to give these guys a chance to play.
Maybe an environment where you've got two really good players for each spot. So you can have maybe Saka and Buendia duking it out for that right spot. But
what you've said to Bukayo Saka by going and spending £40 million on Emi Buendia is, we aren't convinced that you're good enough to lock this position down. So he is going to be the backup plan. But then you go and you get him and you pay him an exorbitant wage, relatively speaking, and then he doesn't start. So it's a catch-22. We're not a club. We're not Manchester City where we can afford to really go out and have two full-on squads that are Premier League or Europe, be it Champions League, be it Europa League, that are that quality.
Yeah,
we're just not there yet.
You get yourself into that same area of Man United with Donny van der Beek not being able to put them in.
And now all of a sudden you have a guy rotting away on the bench that you paid £40 million for. And wait a minute, hang on, because I'm going to throw you for a loop. We already have that. His name is Nicolas Pepe. We already have a guy that we paid an exorbitant amount of money for that's going to rot away on the bench. I get the depth thing, but there's a fine line that I think has to be walked here between trying to bring in a player that's perceived that's going to cost that much. You just don't have enough game time for all of them.
Well,
so you need a player.
You would hate my FIFA career team then, because you want to see what I've got sat on my bench, man. It's just
I can't. I mean, that's it's FIFA. It's like Drew said earlier today in a tweet. This isn't a video game, And I see everybody, Pepe. When Dia would be rotated with ESR, is that good enough? First of all, I don't think he'd be rotated with ESR. I think he'd be rotated with Saka and Martinelli. But my point is that are they going to be okay with that? So you either take the hard stance and be ruthless and say,
why should we be in a position where one injury, costs us quality? Why should we be in a position that that one going out of form and we are out of there, or we burn them to the ground? These guys are 19, 20 years old, right? They shouldn't be given so much responsibility that now you're going to take that they control Arsenal. That's not the way. This is what the philosophy has been, and then because Aaron Ramsey needs to grow, so we don't sign Xabi Alonso. But why not? If you see quality and quality can improve your starting 11, it doesn't matter which position it is. You should go for it.
Is Emi Buendia improving our starting 11? Is Julian Brandt improving our starting 11 right now? I say no. I do not think they improve the starting 11 given the players that they're going to boot out of a position that those players have earned. And again, I get you need depth. I'm not disputing the depth and all that.
Competition, because for me, with Hector Bellerin, a lot of people this season and last season, there's a big split with Hector these days. He's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him, right? There seems to be no in between ground. And I've always thought that with the right back position for several seasons, we never really had any competition for Hector. And Hector knew that if he was breathing oxygen and walking on both legs, he's in the starting lineup. And I think that when you're in that position, when you have that position in a team, no matter where it is, it does lead into a little bit of complacency, because if you are having a bit of an off game and you're halfway through the game and you think, I'll make up for it next week. I'll have to, all during next week, I'll get my head in the right place and I'll be back next week and I'll make up for it. And then next week comes and it's the same things happening. And you start to convince yourself, because you know that you're always going to play, right? So you can, it's like being the top salesman in an office, right? And you don't get a sale for a couple of weeks. You're like, oh, I'm the top man. Don't worry, I'm still going to finish the top of the board with the sales. Yeah, that, and I'm worried that we're going to get into that situation with a couple of our positions. ESR, as revitalizing as he is, he needs to have somebody to rotate with. And he also needs he also needs a little bit of mentorship, because let's say we don't
that at all.
Anyone for that role, and we say, okay, we're not going to spend money there. We're going to rotate that position between Emil Smith-Rowe, Willock, and even if we bring someone else on the wing, maybe we'll put Saka in there. But look at the age of all three of them. Who are they learning from? Is ESR learning from Willock? Is Willock learning from Saka? We still need to get someone in there, I think. Obviously, it's not going to be Ozil, right? That's all dead and gone. Forget that. But we need someone in there who's, I'm not saying has to be a star, but has to be of around about maybe somewhere between 25 to 27 years old. So they still have a bit of resale value on. Someone that ESR and Willock, people like that in that role can learn off, but also someone that they can they can give competition to.
So let's take off the executive cap, put on the player cap. Your Emile Smith-Rowe or your Bukayo Saka, and Arsenal go out and buy a guy that is probably going to replace you. So you've now not created competition. Now what you've done is you've taken a player who has revitalized your team in Emile Smith-Rowe, and you've said, okay, we're going to go out, we're going to bring in this player. Now go fight for your job because it's his.
But who plays? But then when Emile Smith-Rowe gets maybe suspended or injured, who do we put in?
Right. I'm not saying that we don't need
to have competition. I'd rather bring someone in. But you say to Emile Smith-Rowe, you say to him, look, it's not because I don't believe that you've got a place in this team, but your legs are not going to be able to carry you through every single game. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Again, not saying we don't need depth, and I'm not saying that you don't need a high quality player as depth. But a couple of these names to me are just players. I just when you go to Emi Buendia and you want to bring him in, is there not an expectation on? And I'm speaking purely from the player's perspective, because the executive, absolutely, you bring in the best player you can for the money that you're willing to spend, 100%. I'm thinking from the player's perspective. If you go out and you bring in Emi Buendia, is there not a reasonable expectation on his part that he's going to be starting? Like he's going to be in the best 11. He's going to be a part of the best 11.
But then you set expectations accordingly, right? Like that this is
but then why would he come here? That's what. So okay,
we play 60 games a season. ESR, now we are bigging him up on, as much as I have loved his performances, he's put in 3 performances, right? He came in the Chelsea game. Yep. 3 games, and now we've given him the status that he can now control Arsenal transfers and say whether or not we should get somebody else in. This Wayne Rooney couldn't do after 15 years, after 10 years at Manchester United, or whatever years at Manchester United. You can't do that. If there is quality that can come in, then quality will come in, and you have to ride it out. If you believe in your quality, then you are going to get that starting berth. But do remember that there's enough games, and I'm not just talking about dead rubber games. There's enough games of meaning where two players can play in each position, and these players need to be fluid anyway, right? Like, why are they stuck into, you don't want Ozils who just play one position and they can't play anything else. Saka, now he's playing on the right, and he's playing really well. It's not like just because Aubameyang is there or somebody else is there that his position is not there. He's cemented his position in the team.
And you remember, it was only maybe 2 months ago that I had people saying, "Oh, Saka's shit on the right. Don't try that again." I heard it.
I was saying that during the restart.
He wasn't great on the right, but now
I think not great on the right.
With the
I'm not saying. I'm saying you got to keep your mind open sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, like I said,
some people use the expression, "Oh, I'm not saying you, but you're such a flip flop." No, you are allowed to change your mind and change your opinion based on what your fucking eyes are seeing.
I look at it. I'm trying to look at it from the executive, again, from the club executive standpoint. I'm thinking, yes, if I have a chance to get Emi Buendia, who I think is a good player, I bring him in. If I have a chance to get Julian Brandt, who I think is a good player, I bring him in. If I have a chance to get a good player, I want to do everything I can to bring that player in.
I like what Tony Turner, and shout Tony, hope you're well, mate. But I like what he says.
Yeah, Tony, what's up, man?
Would Fekir hit the bill for you? Yeah, that is the kind of profile that I would like to see hold people like ESR's hand a little bit. To because you can't play every game, but they could really form good competition for each other.
That's a good shout.
I think that kind of a profile is kind of exactly what we need, because ESR has been good, but I don't think he's been exceptional. He hasn't been a 9, but here's what we've been missing, and he's been consistent in those 3 games. He's not been a superstar. he's not been a well beater, but he's shown us what we need in that area. And so he needs someone in there with him who he can continue to learn from, because he's still at a stage where he's still learning his trade. And who is he? He needs to learn it off what's around you in training. And he ain't going to learn much off Willock, and he ain't going to learn much off Nelson, and he ain't going to learn much off of, some of the other youngsters. They need to see, some other people and have something to fight against, to have a bit of, this is the guy that I want to take out so I can get that spot. You need to have that.
I just think that with a guy like Buendia or a guy like Brandt, they're brought in, and those players are going to be expecting to start. And if the promise isn't, yes, you're the starter, you're the crucial player here, you're the guy whose name's going to be on the team sheet 80% of the games this season, why do you come here? Why do you give up your starting spot? I heard somebody said, because we're the mighty AFC and he's playing for Norwich.
Yeah, exactly.
He's playing. He comes here.
Brandt's not playing, though, so I don't get what your point is. Brandt's on the bench for Dortmund. He's not playing for Dortmund right now. He's fighting for game time.
Okay, so Brandt would be the exception of this then, but Buendia's, he's easily one of the first names on Norwich team sheet. So does he give up his starting spot in the championship, fighting promotion, all the time, and you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. You have no idea what the hell's going on, or you come here and you don't know if you're going to play week to week because maybe your manager who has been seen to play favorites doesn't like you for some reason.
Are you talking about
that is the situation that nobody will ever shift clubs, right? Like this is the same thing. People think about this about their jobs also, right? You want to change a job only when there is a tangible benefit to it, because you don't know how the other person is going to react on the other side, right? Whether it's going to be better conditions or worse conditions. Similarly, but they have more of information here because they know who the managers are and what their attitude is and how things roll around. Now, and I'm not saying we need to go in for Buendia, right? Like it's not just him. Like whoever
I do not want Buendia.
Whoever we go in for, there should be no guarantees. You get your spot on merit. You are in form, you will play. You are not in form, you don't play. That is
So let me ask you this question then. And a lot of this is devil's advocate. I won't, because I'm not. I understand. I'm not disagreeing with you guys at all. I'm just trying to look at it from a bit of a different perspective. But this comment right here, first of all, we're not City, so for us to be able to draw the kind of talent that they do, we're not there right now. So that's going to be difficult for us to do. That being said, you say you play based on merit. So if your form stays up here the entire season and you don't drop form, does the next guy behind you get into a meaningful game?
But like Rohan said, and he said,
he's good. They're going to get the odd cup game. I understand that, but in a meaningful game in the Premier League, because certain clubs value.
You play your best players. It's about results. You can't go, well, I know you're in the form, but Chris over here, he's not played in a few weeks. I want to give his legs a stretch. No, that's not. You've got to be a little bit more cutthroat. Your job's at stake. If to a degree,
that's kind of my point.
But I think you guys are kind of missing it. And Brian said something that I feel like no one talked about, and I think he said it beautifully. Ozil's a 10, and he plays one position, and that's all he does. We're not trying to bring in a 10 that just all he does is play the 10, play the 10. We want to bring in someone that could rotate, move people around.
I like versatility.
Smith Rowe is not just a 10. I think one of his first games with us in the Europa League, he was drifting off to the left. I think another game he was drifting off to the right. Smith Rowe can kind of play anywhere below the striker and just make runs to the box. Yeah. So really, I'm not looking for someone that's just going to play a 10 and that's it. I'm not looking for another fucking Ozil. I'm not. I want someone that can fit in and can rotate like a Julian Brandt. I really want Julian Brandt. He can play the 8, he can play a 10. I think he's played a little bit of left wing, or is it right wing? I can.
And he's German. Come on, tell the truth.
I mean, yeah, let's be real here. And he's German too. He's blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, anyways, I just think he's a perfect signing for us. And they put a $25 million price tag on him. I'm biting that hand, and I'm taking him.
Where does Brandt play? Is he a winger or does he play in the middle or both?
He can play as an 8. He doesn't play as a 10 too much. He plays as an 8, and I think his main role with Dortmund is I think it's left wing, which is like weird because of like Saka Martinelli, Aubameyang, but like he can play multiple positions, and like we were just talking about, and like I've said on other podcasts, like the attack that I like is just like a pinwheel, just constantly moving. People are shifting around. You don't know who's playing what position. And if there's fluidity and there's chemistry, and and people know they're supposed to be, and they have that chemistry, I think this isn't a problem. So I think Julian Brandt's a perfect signing. Granted, there's other options, might be cheaper options. I personally, I really, and this is like I guess another hot take. I really don't want Buendia. I think he's a quitter. I think when the going gets tough for him, he quits. When his second to last game in the Premier League, he knew his team was getting relegated. He elbowed Ashley Westwood in the back of the head, and he got sent off in the first half because he knew the season was over. He said, "Man, fuck it." I think he was suspended for the first game of the championship too. I think it was like second to last game. He got 3-game ban. I don't want that kind of player with that kind of personality on my team. That just the going gets tough. Let's quit. I'm just going to quit. I'm out. I don't feel like playing.
That's how I feel about Isco.
Yeah, no, I agree with Isco too. Yeah.
Brandy's saying like Isco will tear a new one in the Premier League if he comes. Based on what? I mean, go to Wikipedia, look at his stats over the last 4 years, come back and tell me you still feel the same.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ceballos is doing so well for us, according to Lone Star London, or maybe Isco will do the same.
So we're gonna move over at this point. Not a very graceful segue here, but we're going to move over to my channel for the after party on this.
If that is going to take an Uber to the airport, just let me know, man. Let me know.
So anyway, yeah. So we're going to move over to my channel. I posted the link here.
That's what I say. Dave's comment is the best one all night. That's my favorite comment from Dave.
Looks like he works in a kebab van.
He looks like he works in a kebab van. You want a shish or you want a doner?
So we're doing things a little differently this week. Copy and paste the link that I just posted in the comments. That'll get you into the after party. We're going to wrap up here. Fellas are going to take a quick break, 3 to 5 minutes. Freshen up a little bit. We got to get our party gear on and come back, and we'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to go for you. What's that?
I said I'll whip out the feather boa that I was talking to Mike about.
You won't do it. So at this point,
I'm worried.
I'm a little worried too. So, but at this point, you want to come back onto my channel because you want to see Ryan in a feather boa, and somehow or other screenshot it. I don't know. Use it as blackmail material. So, yeah, that's gonna do it for us on the same old Arsenal channel. Guys, we will see you over for the after party. We'll see you over there, like I said, in about 3 minutes. So